Good morning, dear children. Hope you all are safe. Nowadays, we know that situation is becoming worse and worse. So, if you want to be safe, we should stay home. Clear, children? So, today we can move on to the new chapter. In the first lesson, we discussed about life processes. And you all know why they are known as life processes. Tell me why they are known as life processes. Because that processes help an organism to survive. For the survival of an organism, that 4 important life processes are very important. They are nutrition, respiration, transportation and excretion. You know, nutrition, first step is what? Taking in of food. If you don't eat food, gradually we will die. Second process is respiration. We all know first step is what? Breathing, that means exchange of gases. So, if that process doesn't take place, definitely the organism dies. Third one, it is the transportation. You know that all these substances should be carried from one part of the body to another. And there should be a pumping organ also. If this system doesn't work, individual will die. And last process, that is excretion. After all these processes, we all know waste are produced. It should be eliminated or it should be thrown out of the body. Otherwise, what will happen? Individual will die. So we know that without this actual functioning of these processes, an organism cannot survive. In the second chapter, we discussed about structures associated with control and coordinating all the body activities. We know that different processes are there, other different activities are there, and all should have a controlling center. And we all know that all these activities are interconnected also. So there should be a controlling center to control and coordinate all the body activities. So there we discussed about brain, spinal cord, nerves, and the hormones responsible for carrying what all things needed to a target site also. So this lesson we are going to study. We know that all these processes takes place in a human body, right? So body should be there. So in this chapter we are going to study how new organisms are produced from an existing organism. How new organisms are produced from the existing organism, or otherwise how do organisms, can you name that process of producing new organism from the existing organism? Yes, absolutely right. That is reproduction. What is that process? It is reproduction. And what is reproduction? It's the process of creating same individuals or same type of individuals from the existing species or existing organism. So, while we discussed about the life processes, you all know that we haven't discussed about which process of reproduction. We discussed about main 4 processes, but among that we haven't discussed about the process of reproduction. Can you say why? I hope many of you are having answer with you. Yes, because this process of reproduction is not needed for an organism to survive. For an organism to live or lead a healthy life, this process of reproduction is not at all needed. But still I say reproduction is an important process. I should say that reproduction is an important process, even though we haven't discussed or we don't discuss it under important life process. How many of you agree to that statement? Reproduction is an important process, I should say that. And how many of you agree to that statement? Or how many of you disagree? Yes, a few may disagree and others may disagree. And those who agree to that statement, can you say why do you say so? Why do you feel that reproduction is an important process? Yes, this reproduction helps the what? Increasing the population. What will happen if when we look around us, we could see a few couples are there, they don't like to have children, and some are not getting married, some are not interested to have children. If a few people decide like that, nothing will happen to the society or to the state or to the country. But if a group of people or a huge large number of people, if they take a decision like that, they are not going to give birth to the babies, then what will happen to the society? Then what will happen to our state? What will happen to our country? What will happen? Yes, the population will get what? Reduced. Now we know that India stands second, isn't it, in the population rate. We have population explosion. You know what is population explosion? Sudden rise in the population. That is it. So we need a certain want to reduce our population. So if few people, if they decide to do so, nothing happened to our state or the country. But if large number of people decide not to have children, gradually what will happen? Yes, this human population will be wiped off from the earth. It will be wiped off from the earth, or they will face what? Extinction. You know that so many different types of animals, birds, plants, trees, they had existed years back. Yes, ago they were there, but now they had got extincted. Maybe of different reasons they got extincted. You know, dinosaur, you know that due to the extreme climatic condition, they got extincted, and dodo bird, and likewise no different trees and all. It is because of maybe the bad climatic condition or maybe some other reason, maybe the predators, you know, the increasing the number of predators. You know what are predators? The animals that attack the prey, attack other organisms. So if the predators number also increase, gradually what will happen? Yeah, a particular species will get what? Extincted. So many reasons are there. But here, if a human species, if they decide not to reproduce, what will happen? Gradually, the number of human beings will get reduced, and gradually, after so many years, maybe hundreds and hundreds of years, this species will get what? Extincted. So that is the reason why I said reproduction is an important process. Otherwise, population will not increase. Our species, you know, last year you studied about the genus, species and all, isn't it? Classification. So the species human, Homo sapiens, or the human beings will get extincted if this process of reproduction not there. Don't think that it is only in the case of human beings. All the living organisms, even if it is a microorganism like amoeba, or the human being, all the organisms, they reproduce. Otherwise, definitely we know that the species will come to an end. So to avoid that, all the organisms, they give birth to their young ones. So, I would like to ask you one question. If you see a monkey, a dog, a cat, a human being, how can you distinguish among these four? How can you say that this is a monkey, or this is a cat, or this is a dog, or this is a human being? How is it possible for you to differentiate? Yes, from the appearance. That is very important. From the appearance itself, we can understand that this is a monkey, because you have already seen the monkeys. You have seen the picture of monkey, then cat, dog and all. We all know these animals. So you can easily identify cat from a dog from a human being. That is by the appearance. And what is this appearance? Why all the human beings look alike? Because you can say they belong to same group. And how can we say that they belong to a single group? How? Because their appearance, isn't it? When we think about a human being, we know that it has got two eyes, nose, ears, then hands, two legs, isn't it? Body structure and all. Maybe, of course, some slight variations are there. That's it. Some slight variations are there. But still, these organisms, they all have a same blueprint. That is very important. This term is very important. It is the why organisms look similar, because their blueprint are similar. Their blueprint of group of organisms belong to a particular group, their blueprint is the same. Blueprint means what? Just imagine, before constructing a house, the engineer, he used to draw a plan, and that plan is the blueprint. Afterwards, no, we can make modifications in it, definitely. You can increase the number of bedroom, increase the number of toilets, then room, then swimming pool, etc., etc. What are things we want to add to it, we can do it. But a house should have a particular structure. School building should have a particular structure. A hospital should have a particular structure. So that blueprint will be the same, and these people, according to the interest, we can make certain modifications. Same manner in the human beings also, blueprint is the same, and of course the color may vary from one individual to another, height may vary, then hair color, skin color, etc., etc., etc. So many differences are there, but the blueprint is the same. So that is the reason why, as the blueprint is the same, organism belong to a particular group, they look alike, it is because of the blueprint. And now we can move on to the reproduction. You know what is reproduction? It is the creating the individual of the same kind. That's very important. Dog cannot give birth to a cat. Or human being cannot give birth to a monkey. Is it possible? Of course, some exceptions are there. Donkey and the horse can give birth to a mule. Likewise, and tiger and lion can also give birth to another organism. Of course, in rare situations it happens. But generally, human beings can give birth to human beings. Monkey can give birth to a monkey. Dog can give birth to a dog. Likewise, only it happens. Clear? So, and the first step in any reproduction, first step is there, that is the copying, DNA copying. DNA, note down, the first step in any reproduction, it is the copying of the DNA. Hope this term is quite familiar to you. Last year, when you studied about the nucleus, what does it see? Inside the cell, we can see the nucleus, isn't it? Just imagine, this is the cell. Inside the cell, we can see the nucleus. Okay, this cell, this portion is the cytoplasm, and we know this is the nucleus. Clear? So, inside the nucleus, what's the importance of this nucleus? Yes, as the brain controls all our body activities, the nucleus controls all the activities of the cell. So here, inside the nucleus, what we can see? You can see the thread-like structures known as the chromosomes. You know that chromosome, the shape may be like this. Different shapes you can see in the chromosome. This shape can be seen only at the time of cell division. That is very important. Otherwise, no, inside the nucleus, you can see the chromosomes like this. At the time of cell division, you can see the chromosomes here. And inside the chromosome, you can see DNA. Double helix model. DNA shape is what? Double helix model. And you can see the gene. So, genes are the carriers of hereditary particles. So, DNA is a double helix model. Can you say the full form of DNA? Deoxyribonucleic acid. So, inside the nucleus, chromosomes are there. Inside the chromosomes, we can see the DNA and you can see the genes. So, the first step in any reproduction, it is the copying of the DNA. And how is it possible? When we think about the human beings, how many parents are involved? Is it single parent? Absolutely no, isn't it? It's a combination of two parents. Two parents, that is father and mother, both are involved in the reproduction of human beings. So here, father has got DNA. Can you name the sex cell of the father? Is the sperm. And what about the sex cell of the mother? It is the egg, or otherwise we can call it as what? Ovum. And what is the product? Zygote. Sperm, it's the cell of the father. Egg, it is the cell of the mother, and they both join together form what? Zygote. In the 8th standard, you study in detail about this. Sperm plus egg join together to form what? Zygote. So sperm is coming from the father and egg is coming from the mother. So here, first DNA copying I said. DNA of the father. DNA of the father. First, what is produced? You know, photocopying. DNA of the father. DNA of the father. First, what happened? It forms a photocopy. Similarly, what will happen? DNA of the mother also form a photocopy. Because both DNAs are needed. Father's DNA is needed. Along with that, mother's DNA is also needed. So what happens? Father's DNA, it take a photocopy inside the body, and mother's DNA also take a photocopy. And the father's DNA, it remains, you know, the original one remains within the father, and the photocopy only will move on to the zygote. Original DNA will remain within the parent, and the photocopy only will move towards the zygote. And from here also, the egg, here also the DNA copying takes place, and the egg, one original copy will remain within the parent, and the photocopy will move towards the zygote. So this DNA copying, it's a reaction, it's a chemical reaction, and we cannot trust a chemical reaction at all. Just imagine when you take a photocopy of a paper. Can you differentiate original and the photocopy? Sure, we can do it very easily. Because no photocopy paper has its own differences while comparing with the original one. Because it is done in a machine. Very easily we can identify. Similarly, this DNA photocopying is also a chemical reaction. And we cannot trust a chemical reaction as such. So, sometimes no, this DNA copying is very correct. Sometimes it will not be correct. That also I can compare you with the photostat machine. Sometimes when we take the photocopy of the notes or something, when we get the photocopy, we could see that no sides are not clear, and the shape of the paper may be not clear, and the way it is typed not clear, and maybe the first 2 or 3 lines are not there. One or end lines are not there. Some situations it can happen. I hope you all have experienced it. Even I have experienced it. Sometimes no photocopied paper have different problems or different corrections in it. Similarly, here also, when this DNA photocopying takes place, some photocopying is somewhat perfect. If it is somewhat perfect, it can result in the formation of a new individual. If it is completely imperfect, then what will happen? The same way that photocopied paper, can we use it again? No. Then we won't take another photocopy. Same manner, here also, if this DNA photocopying, as I told you, is a chemical reaction, if it is not proper, even if it reaches the zygote also, it cannot survive. So, this chemical reaction should be somewhat reliable. Otherwise, no, it doesn't result in a new individual. So, but one more thing you should see very clearly, in the DNA after taking the photocopy, if one photocopied portion will move towards the zygote, isn't it? The zygote, this DNA cannot alone survive. Just imagine inside your body different organs are there, they are all very active, and if any heart or any organ, if it is separated from our body and if we keep it outside, will it work for a long time? No, it will get destroyed, isn't it? Same manner, DNA cannot survive alone. It needs a cellular apparatus, that is very important. Inside the cell only DNA can survive. So immediately when the photocopied DNA moves towards or it passes to the zygote, immediately an outer covering or cellular apparatus is formed. In both paternal DNA as well as maternal or mother's DNA. In both conditions, they immediately form a cellular apparatus. Cellular apparatus. In this cellular apparatus only DNA can survive. Then other steps will continue. That we will discuss in the later session. So here, first step in any reproduction, it is the photocopying of the DNA. DNA, take the photocopy, and we are not inserting any machine to it. It's a chemical reaction, and this after photocopying, original will remain within the parent, and the photocopied copy only move towards the zygote. Depending upon the perfection of the reaction, that DNA copying can result into a new individual. If the DNA copying is not at all perfect, then that will result in the death of that new individual, or maybe the zygote will not survive. So that is about the first step in any reproduction, that is the DNA photocopying. And one more thing we know that, as I told you earlier, this DNA photocopying, it is not a chemical reaction is not reliable. If it is not, that result in what? Variation. About just imagine half is coming from the father and half is coming from the mother. Then just imagine how the individual will look like. Just look at ourselves. Are we similar to our parents in all the aspects? Or are we half, one side full like the father and one side full like the mother? Are we like that? Certainly not. We are not, isn't it? Just imagine how it is to be half side correct father and half side correct mother. If the reaction should be perfect, we are supposed to be like that. This reaction should be perfect, then we all should look like just ditto of our parents, half father and half mother. But it is not like that. Of course, we have certain variations are there. You know what is meant by this variation? It is a similarities. In some aspects we are similar to our parents, isn't it? In some aspects we are similar to our parents, but in some aspects we are what? Different, or we are different from our parents, and that is known as what? Variation. Some aspects we are similar, and similarities are there, and as well as what? Variation is also there. And can you say what is the importance of this variation? Or do you think the variation is needed? Or do you like to have similarities only? Yes? Why is there any need for this variation? Or this variation is useful or harmful? And tell me. Yes, this variation is needed for an organism to survive in extreme climatic condition. If there is no change at all, we all inherit whatever is there in our parents only. And if there is no change in us, we cannot adapt to new condition or environmental condition. When organism need to support or need to live in a suitable naik means what? Habitat, or the place where it lives, there should be certain variation. That changes sometimes help that particular individual to live in a particular climatic condition. So similarities as well as variation, both are equally important for an organism to survive in variety of environmental conditions. Similarities are needed, along with the variation is also needed that help an organism to survive in particular environmental condition. So hope it is clear. First step in reproduction, it is the copying of the DNA. And why we all look alike? It is because our blueprint is similar. And the first step in any reproduction, it is the photocopying of the DNA. And after photocopying, you know what will happen? The original will remain within the parent, and the photocopy only, a copy only move towards the zygote. And if the reaction is somewhat perfect, it can result in the new individual. But if it is imperfect, it doesn't result in what? Any individual. So now we can move on to two types of reproduction that you all know it very clearly. Reproduction, how many types are there? The smaller classes onwards you are studying about it. Tell me, what are two types of reproduction? One is the asexual reproduction, and next one is the sexual reproduction. First one is the asexual and second one is the sexual. See, only one difference is there, isn't it? Letter. Asexual and this is sexual. Can you say the first difference between asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction? Asexual reproduction, how many parents are involved? That is very important. In asexual reproduction, how many parents are involved? Single parent, right? In the asexual reproduction, only single parent is involved. In what about sexual reproduction? Yes, two parents are involved in the case of sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction, single parent. Sexual reproduction, two parents, father and mother. In asexual reproduction, only single parent is needed, and we are going to discuss how it happens later. Okay. Then here, no involvement of sex organs. Sex organs are not involved. Sex organs are not involved, and here involvement of sex organs. Involvement of sex organs. Here asexual, sex organs are not involved. But in sexual reproduction, whether it is an animal or a bird or a plant, what happens? Sex organs are involved, or gametes are involved in sexual reproduction. But in asexual reproduction, there is no involvement of sex organs. That's very important. So these are the main two differences between asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction, single parent. Sexual reproduction, two parents. Asexual reproduction, sex organs are not involved. In the sexual reproduction, involvement of sex organs. Now we can move on to the different types of asexual reproduction. Different types of asexual reproduction. Very, very important question for the examination. Asexual reproduction, different types. First one, it is the fission. Note down. First is the fission. Second one, it is the budding. Third one, it is the fragmentation. Third one, it is the fragmentation. Fourth one, it is the regeneration. Fifth one, it is the spore formation. And last one, it is vegetative propagation. These are the main 6 types of asexual reproduction. Very, very important. They are the fission, budding, fragmentation, regeneration, spore formation and vegetative propagation. 6 types of asexual reproductions are there, and fission can be divided into 2. They are binary fission and multiple fission. So these are the main 6 types of asexual reproduction: fission, budding, fragmentation, regeneration, spore formation and vegetative propagation. Hope you have copied it. So now we can move on to the first one, that is the fission. Okay. So fission, 2 types are there: binary fission and multiple fission. First we can discuss about the binary fission. What is meant by binary? Binary means what? 2. Fission means what? Divide. So here a single organism divides into how many organisms? 2. Single organism divides into 2. Binary means 2 and fission means what? Divide. So here I can cite an example. Hope you all have heard about amoeba, isn't it? Yes. Amoeba is a unicellular freshwater organism. See, this is the nucleus and cytoplasm is there. Okay. Amoeba, it can acquire any type of shape. Okay. So this amoeba, During favorable condition, amoeba reproduces by means of binary fission. Specifically, during favorable condition. Can you say what is the favorable condition for amoeba? What does amoeba lives? Yes, in fresh water. During rainy season, that time, if enough water is there, that time is the favorable condition for whom? Amoeba. So, during favorable condition, amoeba reproduces by means of binary fission. See what happened. Amoeba, during favorable condition, first amoebas, the mature amoeba starts to reproduce. Just see, this is amoeba. Second step, what happened? The nucleus, it starts to elongate. That is the first. First step is what? Nucleus, they starts to elongate. Enlarges in size, see? And next one, what will happen? Yes, enlargement become, likewise. See? It again enlarges. And next one, this nucleus, it splits into two. Nucleus, it split into two. Next one, what happens? Just see here. Nucleus, they separate each other, and finally, last one, what happened? Yes, it split into two nucleus. Afterwards, it gains cytoplasm and it splits into two. See the nucleus. First step is elongation. Very, very important. First step in binary fission of amoeba is the elongation of the nucleus, and more elongation. Then this word splits into two, and it tries to gain what? Cytoplasm. Without cytoplasm, nucleus cannot survive. Then finally what? It splits into what? We can call it as what? Two daughter cell, not son cell. These products are known as what? Daughter cells or two daughter cells. Can you say why it is known as daughter cells? Even I don't know the answer. We can just guess it. No, females are giving birth to the babies, isn't it? Maybe it is because of that only we can call maybe the amoeba. It gives birth to two daughter cells. It's a very important question. Amoeba. First, nucleus elongate. Then what happened? Elongation get increased. Then it separates. They try to gain cytoplasm and they separate into two daughter cells. This is binary fission in amoeba. Now we are going to watch a video just to make you understand it very clearly. You can just watch that video showing binary fission in amoeba.
Amoeba reproduces asexually by binary fission. Binary fission is a type of asexual reproduction in which the fully grown parent cell splits into two halves, producing two new daughter cells. At the time of binary fission, the amoeba withdraws pseudopodia and becomes spherical in shape. The nucleus splits longitudinally and divides into two daughter nuclei. These daughter nuclei move towards opposite poles. This is followed by the elongation of the parent cell. A fissure appears in the middle of the cytoplasm between the two daughter nuclei, dividing the cells into two equal halves. Thus, two daughter amoebae are produced from a single parent. One of them has the original contractile vacuole, while the other develops a new one. The entire process of binary fission is completed in less than half an hour, but this time varies with temperature.
Hope it is clear. Now we can discuss about multiple fission. Multiple fission takes place in amoeba during unfavorable condition. It takes place in amoeba during unfavorable condition. Who can say what is the unfavorable condition for amoeba? Favorable condition is the presence of water, isn't it? Then what about unfavorable condition? Lack of water during the drought season, isn't it? That time what amoeba does normally? Amoeba creates an outer covering known as the cyst. Amoeba produces a cyst around it. What's the function of this cyst? Yes, to provide protection. And within the cyst, amoeba divides so many times and numerous amoebas are produced. That is it. During unfavorable condition, amoeba Amoeba produces a cyst around it, and within the cyst the nucleus divides so many times. Continuously it divides. When the condition becomes favorable, can you guess what will happen? Yes, the cyst breaks and the amoebas are released. Amoebas are released into the water. Amoebas are released into the water. So, during unfavorable condition, amoeba reproduces by means of multiple fission. You know what is multiple? Numerous, isn't it? Binary means what? You know, two. In binary fission, amoeba produces only two nucleus. But in multiple fission, amoeba produces numerous nucleus because these amoebas, they were under rest for so many days as water was not available to them. So when the condition becomes favorable, when water is there, enough water is there, amoeba senses the presence of water, immediately the cyst bursts and the nucleus are released or nuclei are released into the water. This is how multiple fission takes place in amoeba. And one more organism is the quite common to it is the plasmodium. It is an animal parasite. Okay, plasmodium. You know what is? Have you heard about plasmodium? Oh, what it is responsible for causing which disease? Malaria. Plasmodium is a malarial parasite. Plasmodium is a malarial parasite, and how this malaria spread from one person to another? Yes, by mosquito bite, isn't it? Yes. So this plasmodium, when it enters the body of an individual, what will happen? You know, same manner it produces cyst around it. First it reaches the liver cell only. First this when a mosquito bite, carrier mosquito having this protozoa or plasmodium in it, it enters into when it bites an human being, you know what will happen? This will directly move towards the liver. It starts multiplying in the liver, it produces a cyst around it and it divides so many types, so many times, and so many nucleus are produced and it gets released and it attacks, you know, red blood cells. It attacks the red blood cells. Who attacks? This plasmodium. And gradually what will happen, you know? It will completely affect the whole body and the symptoms will appear very fast. Symptoms will appear very fast in the case of attack of which parasite? Plasmodium, because it reproduces by means of multiple fission. So this is about the binary and multiple fission. And binary fission we discuss only about amoeba, and I want to just make you understand. And another example we can just discuss about binary fission. You know that amoeba is a unicellular organism without any particular shape. So it also takes place in what? It also takes place in animals having what? Leishmania. This is the shape of the Leishmania. And here you know that Leishmania, it is about a particular shape. It also reproduces by means of what? Binary fission. And it takes place in this manner only. Clear? Longitudinal manner only. It can divide into two. Binary fission, one part, one, another part, one. That is it. In the case of amoeba, amoeba it is having a lot of particular shape, so it can get divided like this, it can divide like this, it can divide any manner, any form it can divide. But in this case of Leishmania, it is not like that. It has a particular shape and the organism can be divided, it can be divided only in a particular manner. Clear? Then multiple fission also, we discussed about two examples. One is the amoeba, another one is the plasmodium. So, and in the case of this binary fission and multiple fission, what will happen to the parents then? Can you see the parent after reproduction? No. What will happen? It gets destroyed. Parents itself divides and give birth to the new organism. Here parental identity is lost. That term is very important. Parental identity is lost in the case of fission, because after the giving birth to the organisms, parent is not there. So now you can watch a video showing multiple fission in plasmodium. So just watch it and afterwards go through the textbooks thoroughly, study all the answers. If any doubt is there, you are free to ask me through WhatsApp. And the balance of this asexual reproduction we can discuss in the next class. Until then, it's bye from me. Bye.
The parasite Plasmodium falciparum is responsible for most of the world's malaria cases. It has evolved in concert with its human and mosquito hosts and displays a complex life cycle that alternates between the two. An infected female mosquito transfers the parasite to a human when she takes a blood meal. The parasite, in the form of sporozoites, is injected with her saliva, which contains an anticoagulant that promotes a steady blood flow. The circulatory system delivers the sporozoites to their target, the liver. A sporozoite enters a liver cell and begins to feed and grow. During the process, the parasite's nucleus divides many times, and then the nuclei bud off to produce thousands of new plasmodium cells, now in a form called merozoites. About a week later, the merozoites burst out of liver cells and enter the bloodstream. In the bloodstream, the merozoites infect red blood cells, where they again reproduce and burst out of the infected cells. The resulting merozoites can infect other red blood cells, yielding a cycle of infection and eruption. Malaria is characterized by repeated bouts of fever, each of which correlates with the synchronous release of merozoites from a population of red blood cells. Some of the infecting merozoites develop into sexual forms called gametocytes, which are either male or female. In the life cycle of Plasmodium falciparum, gametocytes become large oval structures within red blood cells. The gametocytes do not harm the human host, but when a mosquito takes the gametocytes into its gut during a blood meal, these cells initiate the next stage of the Plasmodium life cycle. In the mosquito's gut, the gametocytes escape from the red blood cells and develop into male and female sex cells called gametes. A male and a female gamete fuse to produce the first cell of the next generation, the zygote. The zygote matures into a motile cell called an ookinete and migrates to the wall of the mosquito's gut, where it develops into an oocyst. Inside the oocyst, cell division occurs to produce many new cells, again in the form of sporozoites. The oocyst ruptures and releases the sporozoites, which migrate to the salivary glands. From the salivary glands, the sporozoites can infect the next human host and repeat the Plasmodium life cycle.